Oh, it really is like spraying your face with hairspray. Today's look is a full L'Oreal haul, try on and review. Stay tuned to see me put together this look from today's haul, and wow, that's something else. Finally, I get to sit down and play with some makeup. It's been a long morning. I've been to the opticians and collected my new varifocals, and thank goodness that means I can now see, and it hopefully means that when I'm struggling to read on the makeup containers, I'm going to be able to actually see. I might actually have to put my glasses on to see, but until I get hold of my varifocal contact lens trial, which will be coming in the next week or two, I'm kind of stuck either being blind or putting the glasses on and off. So today's video is a L'Oreal full face haul and review. I'm quite surprised how much L'Oreal makeup I have actually. I haven't done a full face of L'Oreal. I think I did some Christmas beauty boxes, so some of the products you might have seen in one of those videos. But while I was in Boots getting my glasses, I decided to peruse the makeup aisles, and I was drawn into the L'Oreal section and spent a bit of money on a bunch of new L'Oreal products. So I am going to start today by going through what I have bought. I am going to say how much I've paid for it because Boots have got a quite good 2 for 3 offer on at the moment. I'll timestamp where the makeup try on starts, so if you're not interested in the prices and a couple of other goodies that I bought while I was there, then you can skip ahead to the makeup try on. I just want to briefly thank Lamimosa Nails for sending me 2 more sets of nails to try on. I have just updated my nails from last week's. I had I think moonstone on last week, and this is, just had to check, this is the nail sparkling rosé. I will be trying on some new styles in the coming weeks. I have got a French polish style here and a favourite pair that I have worn before. They're a sort of a neutral nude looking with little white hearts on, and I think they're really cute. So I've got a pair of those again. So look out for these in the coming weeks. Also, while I was in Boots today, I picked up a couple of No. 7 goodies that caught my eye. One is actually something a viewer has asked me about. This is No. 7 Good Intent range. This is the Cloud Bounce Whipped Foam Cleanser. I don't know if you can see that. And this, it says, is a hyaluronic acid and black tea ferment whipped foam cleanser. So I haven't tried this yet, but I'm looking forward to giving it a go. And that was £12.95. That was from Boots. I thought I'd start with the cleanser because I go through quite a lot of cleansers. And then there are obviously more products in the range. So if I get on well with that one, then I will review a few more of their products. And the other thing that jumped out at me, they had a bit of a stand with No. 7 makeup brushes, and actually I think it was in one of the advent calendars, I got a little brush. I think it's meant to be like a contour and blush brush, but it's sort of shaped like this, and I really liked it, and I've used it a few times actually for foundation. So I was quite impressed by the No. 7 brushes that I got over Christmas. So when I saw this, I thought this is quite good value. This was actually £29.95 this cost. It says that the contents is worth £73, and it's in really nice little container actually. Not that I'm probably going to keep them in the container, but let's take a look at the brushes. How do we get these out? Okay, so that's quite a nice little pot. Okay, so that's good. So you can actually keep that on your desk like a little container, or you can put the lid on and put it in your bag. So let's see what we have in here. We have got, okay, oh, fantastic. Right, so that's the brush I mentioned. I received one of these, I think, in the advent calendar. Was it that size or was it a bit bigger? I'm just wondering where it is. Yeah, I think it's the same. So this is the one that I have been using. I think it's meant to be a bronzer and brusher brush, and maybe this one is concealer or something. Okay, yeah, it says dual-ended blush and bronzer brush. So I'm pleased to get another one of those because I really liked using that. And it's also, I nearly bought one of these individually. They had a slightly bigger one, but it was, I think, $19.99 just for one brush. So when I saw this set, I thought I'd get this one. It's a slightly smaller handle, I think, but it's a flat foundation brush, so that's looking nice. And then the set also came with these. Oh, that's a little triangle shape. So yeah, it says this one is a fluffy eyeshadow brush, and this one is a dual-ended concealer brush, which, yeah, it makes sense because you've got a little triangle shape there and a little flat end on that side. So that's nice. I like to buy new brushes, and I thought that was rather cute. The container is nice as well. Okay, but on to the good stuff. So this is the makeup that I bought from Boots today in L'Oreal. And these were all, I think all of them, on 3 for 2 offer. So most of these items are between $8.99 and $13.99, and I seem to have saved on, I think, 5. It looks like I've got 5 products free. Okay, so actually the one of the ones that was free was $6.99. That was a lip liner. But I have saved $6.99, $9.99, $9.99, $11.99, $11.99. So that's not bad going, is it? That's something approaching £50 there I've saved in the 3 for 2s. So what I have bought is, I've bought the L'Oreal True Match. I've bought this in the shade Cool Rose. I do, hang on, True Match, do I have one of these? I did already have a True Match in my collection that I haven't yet tried on camera. I think it looks like I have used it, and I had that in the 2N. So we can compare the shades 2N and 2R/2C. I also bought this Lumi Glotion. So I see several people on YouTube talking about this incessantly, and I thought, well, let's give it a go then. This is the Lumi Glotion. This is in shade 902 Light Glow. So I'm looking forward to giving that one a go. I've also bought a contour stick. So I usually just use a bronzer to kind of do the shaping around the face, but this is the L'Oreal Infallible 20 Infallible. That's interesting. It looks like they've made a spelling mistake on the bottle. Is that supposed to be infallible? I guess maybe it's supposed to say infallible. 24-hour face sculptor. This is in the shade Light Contour. And I did also buy the Lumi Bronze Lustic Soleil. And this is in the shade Toasted Sunlight 110, which is light medium. I bought also a pressed powder. I bought that in the shade 4N. The lighter ones looked a little bit too light for me, so I went for the 4N, so hopefully that's not too light. Also, the concealers were a bit strange because they had one shade range in one brand of concealer and then the darker shade range in a different brand of concealer. So I was a bit baffled by that. So consequently, I had to buy the concealer that came in my shade. This is the L'Oreal Accord Parfait. It says 1.5% hyaluronic acid and caffeine. It says serum corrector. And what shade is this? This is in the shade 2R Light Medium. I also brought the, again, it says infallible. Why am I the only person that thought that said infallible, but it actually says infallible? Infallible Brows. This is like a brow mascara. That's in the shade 3 Brunette. I didn't love the L'Oreal mascaras when I did my mascara clear out, but I had a kind of quicker look through the countertop, and this is the one that looked nicest to me. It's the L'Oreal Panorama Volume Million Lashes, and this is in the shade Brown Leather. Seemingly this was different to the brown, not sure how, so I'm curious to try that one out. And I'm really into eyeshadow sticks and creams at the moment. So I saw these, the shadow stick, and bought these in 3 different shades, only to realise when I got home that I actually have already bought some of these. So I need to double check the shades to see that I haven't bought all the same. I think one of these is a duplicate. I think that one is Alluring Rose. I've got a feeling I saw that in my collection when I looked. So I completely brain melted and didn't realise I'd bought that one. This one is Magnetic Mauve and this one is Brown Abyss. So I think I already have 3 of these. One of them I think is a dupe, so that means I've probably got 5 different colours to swatch and show you today. I also bought this Haute Precision liquid eyeliner in brown leather. And I bought this after the success of using a pen liner in one of my most recent videos. So I thought we'd use the eyeliner, liquid eyeliner as well today. And then for lips, I bought a couple of lip liners, the Colour Riche Lip Crayon in 601 Worth It. I love the fact that L'Oreal are now naming their makeup Worth It as a shade. It's like a flagship shade for them now, isn't it? And it's rather a nice shade actually. So that is 601 Worth It, and this is 1980 L'Ombre. And then 2 more items of makeup. I have bought this matte lipstick. This is 640 Le Nude. This is Intense Volume Matte, and this is the Hyaluron Tint Lip Stain Serum, and I've bought this in the shade 217 Smoky Mauve, and I think I already have one of these in a different shade, so we can get to compare the different shades that I've got today. So I do also have a whole collection of L'Oreal makeup that I have already bought, some of which I have tried and shown you, and some of it is still new to me and I haven't actually used yet. So I'm kind of really looking forward today to going through everything, swatching it, and then putting the best things on. I am going to try and apply as much as I can today so you can see most of the makeup in action. Where did I get to? Rudely interrupted by delivery and sets my dog off barking. Okay, so in here I have my whole collection of L'Oreal makeup, some of which I've used, some of which I haven't. So I've got an absolute vast collection of L'Oreal to go through today. Most of it I think in the current range, and a lot of it is brand new. So let's finally make a start. Oh, right, let's bring some calm back to my world. Right, we'll put those aside while we do the makeup. Right, so I don't know what's going on with L'Oreal and their primers, but I've accumulated 4 of these over the Christmas period. They must have been chucking them in every single gift box going. Otherwise, I don't know how I acquired 4. I certainly didn't buy any of them individually. But let's give it a go. It is a pore minimizer. It says it has 1% AHA, LHA, BHA complex, blurs pores, resurfaces skin over time. So that's kind of interesting. It's like a skincare in your primer. So we might as well give it a go while we're here. Nice pink shade. Pleasant. It's got quite a pleasant smell. I'm actually quite into makeup products that smell nice. I know obviously some people have a reaction to perfumed products and they prefer unscented, but I personally love a product to be nicely scented. It kind of makes the experience a whole lot nicer from my perspective and makes me kind of want to go back and use it again if it smelled nice. And this smells rather nice. And actually, that's gone on rather nicely. It's slightly mattifying and blurring. I'm not big into things like primers, but actually I think that actually looks quite nice. Remains to be seen whether it stays there when we go in with the foundation. But on first impressions, I actually think that's quite nice. Okay, so I've got 4 foundations to swatch today and to pick from. I know for certain I won't be using the Skin Ink. I didn't like that. When I tried it, I had much the same experience of a lot of other people that I saw trying it, and it just sort of went all dry and patchy on the skin. I don't know if it works better as a concealer, but certainly as a foundation it was not very nice. Let's swatch these other ones. I think I'm going to be using the new one that I bought today, which is the Cool Rose shade of the True Match. But let me just pump these 3 out onto my palette and we can take a look at the different colours. Okay, so first we have the Infallible 32-Hour Fresh Wear. That's in the shade 20 Neutral Undertone. So let me just squirt that one here. The next one is also a neutral. This is the True Match Super Blendable Foundation. This is in 2N Neutral. And then the one that I'm expecting to use today is the 2R/2C True Match Foundation, which is a Cool Rose. And that's that one there. Just watching to see the consistency. They all seem pretty runny. Arguably that first one, the Infallible Fresh Wear with vitamin C, that seems to be the runnier of the 3. In terms of shade, that also seems to be the lighter one. There's not much difference between these True Match. Hang on, which ones are they? These are the 2 True Match. So that's the Cool and that's the neutral. And this is a neutral. But honestly, they all look much of a muchness at this point, don't they? I think if I put this on my table, which is white, I can see that this is certainly lighter. That's the 020 neutral. That's a little bit lighter than this 2N. And this 2C is slightly more pink than the 2N, but there's not a whole lot in it. I'm going to go ahead and use the Cool Rose today. I was going to use a sponge, but actually, given that I have this new number 7 flat foundation brush, I guess I will use this one. This is the Cool Rose as it first goes on. That's a pretty good colour match in my book. I'll tell you what, I think these drugstore foundations are really upping their game. I remember not too long ago that all the drugstore foundations I tried would go dry on my skin and sort of lumpy. I don't want to use the word cakey, but it was cakey. Dry and cakey, and they would show all your pores and show all the little hairs on your face. If you've watched one of my other videos about preparing for foundation, you'll know that I remove all the fine hairs from my face now before I put foundation on, which makes a big difference. But nevertheless, these drugstore foundations are really good now, and every bit as good as most of the more luxury foundations that I've tried. I've just put a couple more pumps on the palette. I had a couple of pumps to start with. I think I need a little bit more. I've added a couple more pumps, but that's interesting to know that I'm actually using quite a lot of this foundation. Sometimes you can go 1 pump, can't you, with a brand and you're absolutely covered, but on another type of foundation you need to apply more, and this is one where I'm applying a bit more. This is sort of 3 or 4 pumps in now on the palette, and it's not looking at all overdone, I don't think. I do like a bit of coverage to cover up all these kind of sun blemishes and hyperpigmentation marks I have, especially down my neck now. These are all kind of signs of aging, unfortunately. The sort of thing that I like to cover with a slightly higher foundation, higher coverage foundation these days. Okay, so that's gone on pretty nicely, and actually I like this brush. Most of the foundation brushes are those big fat ended ones. Let me show you an example. Brushes like this, and I just think that's far too large. It's really big and fat and clumsy, and I just don't know how you're meant to kind of get it in all the nooks and crannies with it being so big and flat. Most foundation brushes look like this though, but they just don't do it for me. I think this is much better. Much better to have something smaller and a bit more delicate that you can actually get in and around your features with. I am surprised by how matte this foundation is. Now, I like a good matte finish to my foundation. What does it say? True Match Super Blendable Foundation, Hydrating Hyaluronic Acid. Yeah, it's interesting because it doesn't say matte on it, but this is definitely giving me a matte finish. I like it, don't get me wrong, but if you are looking for something a bit more moist or glowy looking, this might not be the one for you. I think it looks really good. Do you know what? I was going to use this underneath the foundation and I completely forgot. This is the Lumi Glotion Natural Glow Enhancer 902 Light Glow. I wonder, let me put this on top of the palette and I'm going to go in with the same foundation brush. And let's see what happens when we apply this. So this might be the solution. If you don't like a matte finish, but you like the coverage this foundation gives, then perhaps Lumi Glotion might come to the rescue. So let's see. So I've kind of mixed the foundation in with the Lumi Glotion on the same brush. I'm just going to go across my cheeks initially and see, okay, let's go to the forehead as well, see what effect that is going to have for us. Okay, so that's immediately livened things up, given us a bit more of a glow finish, and probably that's a bit more flattering actually than that pure matte finish that we had before. Just need to make sure I haven't made it too uneven because I've just kind of dabbed the glotion here and there. Actually, that's rather nice. I think it has improved things. Now, that's a rare situation where you apply another product and it does improve things. Generally, you can just take it too far and make it worse. But I think this actually looks better now when we put the glotion on. So I do also have this True Match Radiant Serum Concealer. This is in the shade 2R. So I'm just going to use a little bit of this in some of the darker areas. I'm just going to check the shade of it against the foundation actually. Okay, it looks like it's a complete match for the foundation, so that is reassuring. Just going to put some in this shadowy area here. Actually in the inner eye as well, it's a bit dark. Under the nose. And the lip, I think. Let's go down the nose while we're there. And then I'll get the foundation brush back in to blend. See how you can then use this same foundation brush to pat your concealer in. Those really big fat ones, I'm starting to get a bit annoyed by them. I've tried and tried, but I just don't like them. So I think I might be retiring those big fat foundation brushes and replacing them with brushes more like this. Now, I'm not sure if I'm doing my concealer wrong because I'm always a bit perturbed by this light patch that it gives you. And obviously that's the goal for most people, is actually to make this patch lighter. But I'm not sure how I feel about it. I'm probably completely erasing the concealer because I am trying to blend it in with the rest of the foundation and probably undoing the work I've just done, if I'm honest. Okay, next up is our pressed powder. This is the True Match Super Blendable Perfecting Powder. I've bought this in the shade 4N because the other shades looked a bit light, too light for me. It comes in this cool little package. You've got your powder there and then you lift that up. You've actually got a mirror and a little puff if you would like to use that. I am going to grab a brush though. Now let's see if this perfects our base. Okay, so I've just applied it to the forehead. It does seem to be making it look fairly smooth and filtered. It seems like it's bringing us back down to a matte finish though. So I am going to go under the eyes just as a pure experiment, but it's possible that if you've used the Lumi Glotion to get a bit more of a shine and you like that finish, you might not want to go in with a powder over the top, because it's possible that I'm going to cancel out all of that glow that we've just added. The powder's nice, it's setting the makeup well. It is making it all look a bit make-up-y though. I am starting to look quite made up. It's got that look about it that it's made up, but it's going to last all day. And actually what I've heard people saying is that if you want your makeup to last all day, that's kind of the trade-off, is that you have to make it look like you're wearing makeup in order for it to last all day. If you go for that kind of barely there natural look, it isn't going to make it all the way through the day. And I kind of think that's true. I think that's been my experience. I used to do my makeup on a sort of daily basis for work, and I was always really quite sort of nervous to put too much on. I didn't want to look kind of made up, and it was always gone. After lunch I'd go into the toilets and look at the mirror, and the makeup just wasn't there anymore. The only things that kind of hung around was like the eyeshadow and the eyeliner. And that's probably why I put a lot of focus on doing my eyes back in the day, because that was what stayed. And if everything else would just disappear, the foundation, any blush, any lipstick, it would all just be gone. And it seems like the price you have to pay to have that stay on all day is to look like you're wearing makeup. As a bit of an experiment, I'm going to put extra powder around this eye because, right, I've got to remember it's my left eye, because I want to know, does the powder emphasise the fine lines around my eyes, or does it not? So I might well forget to check at the end, so keep an eye on that, but I have put extra powder around my left eye to see what effect it has. At the moment, they look the same. It doesn't seem to have made a lot of difference. Right, next up is the bit that I always find quite fun, and that is the contour and bronze. So I've got this contour stick, which I haven't ever used before. This says it's light contour, and this is how it looks. Let me swatch it for you. So that is my light contour. And then what I also have, so this is going to be interesting to compare, is the Lumi Bronze Le Stick Soleil. This is in 110 Toasted Sunlight. It says light medium. So let's compare. Oh, that's much more slippery. The contour felt more matte, and that bronzing stick felt much more wet and slippery. But here is the shades to compare. So I mean, generally the idea of contour is that it's a cooler shade and that the bronzer is a warmer shade. I think we are seeing that here. They're not too far away from one another though, but arguably that is a bit cooler and that's a bit warmer. And then I also have this Bronze to Paradise powder bronzer in the shade 03 but back to bronze, and I've swatched that there. Doesn't seem to have as much pigment to it as the cream products, interestingly. We'll try and give all of these a go so we can see how they compare. And I'm going to give my new bronze brush a go as a bronzing brush today. But let's start with the contour stick. Okay, I'm a bit nervous to do this. Like I said, I haven't used a contour stick before, and it's a rather kind of skinny looking stick, isn't it? So I'm a bit worried how this is gonna pan out. Might end up really chiseled looking, which will be fun and interesting. Looking a bit stripy like a tiger at the moment. This is where my blending skills need a bit of work potentially. So with it being such a tiny stick, it makes me think that it's destined to be used as a nose contour. I don't generally go in for nose contouring, but for the purposes of today's video, let's give it a go. Tell me in the comments if you are into nose contouring. What am I going to do if I love the nose contour? I'll be forever destined to nose contour. Okay, I think I could stand to have a bit more contour up and around the forehead area and a little bit around here as well. This is where I'm looking forward to getting those varifocal contacts in, because At the moment, I'm a little bit of a blur in my mirror. I'm intrigued to try lip contouring as well. That's something that people are all into at the moment. I'm going to try to contour my lips a little bit so that we can come back to it later. Okay, there we go. A little bit of lip contour. Right then, before we go in with the bronze stick, I'm going to go in with the powder bronzer first. And I'm basically going to go back over the same areas that we've just been with the contour stick, so you can see how the two products mesh together. Like I say, the powder looked very light on the swatch, so it's possible we're not seeing an awful lot of it on the face. Let me take some across the bottom of the chin and up over the eyelids. I dare say I'm going to end up the most bronzed and contoured and browned that I've been in a long while. Right, let's give this Lumi bronze stick a go. This was, remember, 110 Toasted Sunlight, light medium. Looks like this has got a bit more of a glow about it actually. I think it is the Lumi, yeah, it's in the Lumi range, so consequently I think that's why it's got a bit more of a kind of sun-kissed luminous glow about it, and I've kind of put it on more where my blusher will go. Want it to sit alongside the contour rather than obscuring it, but I don't want this stripe. Look, I think I've sort of left a stripe in between. Let's fill that in. Well, this is quite interesting, isn't it? It's kind of giving a totally different vibe. I'm rather enjoying this. I'm starting to feel quite bronzed and sun-kissed by all these contour and highlighting products here. Rather like it. It's putting me in mind to get some fake tan and bronze myself up to get through this cold, horrible winter that we're in. I mean, I'm liking it so far. Right, let's go in for a touch of blush. So these are from my existing collection, but these are still in the shops. They are the L'Oreal Le Blush, and I have the shades 120 Sandalwood Pink and 145 Rosewood. So the lighter one, that's the Sandalwood Pink, and that's the Rosewood. I think we'll give them both a go today. I think we can layer these up. So let's start with the lighter one, and then we'll bring in the darker one. I'm kind of moving across to smaller brushes these days. I used to do my makeup with these huge, big, fluffy brushes, and I just found I didn't have enough control, so I'm moving more and more to smaller brushes. So I've got quite a small angled brush here for my blush. I'm going to think about where it goes before we just bang it on the face. I'm going to go here, my upper cheekbone to start. Actually, it's so pale, this shade, it could also be treated as a highlight, I would say. That looks really pretty, doesn't it? That's really nice. It won't be until later that I watch this back and I realise, oh, I should have spread it more. I'm struggling a little bit to see how far to sort of blend the blush out. I kind of don't want to blend it too far, but neither do I want to be here with a tiny little stripe of blush. Okay, let's go in with a little bit of the darker shade as well, the Rosewood. Oh, that's looking much deeper, isn't it? I'm half tempted just to do one cheek, but I think that might look a bit strange in the final images. So let's go in this side with the darker one. I actually really liked it with that first lighter shade. I think I preferred that one. This one is bringing a bit more. I think maybe I need to bring it up around here a little. I kind of like it up around the temples as well. Let me know which of the blushes you preferred. Did you prefer that lighter one that we used first, or this darker one that I've added second? Right, onto brows. Actually, one of my viewers recommended using a brow mascara rather than a pencil, and that's what I'm going to do today. I have got this Infallible Brows brow mascara, volumizing no less. This is in the shade 30 Brunette. So let's give this a go and see what happens when we mascara our brows. Wow, that's quite something. Maybe this shade is too dark for me. What do you think? Have I gone too dark, or is that actually looking nice? No, maybe it looks okay actually. I think, like the viewer mentioned, As you get older, your brows, as long with your hair, start to fade in colour, and although they aren't obviously grey, they are very much still brown. I think there's less pigment there than there was when I was younger. So it's possible that by using a slightly darker mascara, I kind of restore, oh, it's a bit much on this side, isn't it? Restore some of that youthfulness to my brows. Oh, smudged it. Okay, be careful with this, not to smudge it on the face. Okay, that's interesting. I think I might have gone a touch too far. What do you think? Is that too dark? Or does it look fine? Perhaps when we've got the whole look finished, it will kind of be more in balance once we've got our lips and our eyes on. Right, onto our eyes. Let's try. I've got 6 eyeshadow sticks. Like I said, I think I've bought the same shade twice. Hopefully we don't have more duplicates than that. Let me swatch these on my hand so you can see all of the shades in action. This is Twinkly Rose. This is Alluring Rose. This is Magnetic Mauve. This is Magnetic Bronze. And this is Brown Abyss. I rather like these colours. I think I've done quite well. Apart from I've bought one of them twice, I've somehow managed to buy Alluring Rose twice. I must really like that one. I think these shades look really lovely, don't they? I'm looking forward to trying these on my eyes. I just hope and pray I don't make a total mess of it. I'm going to go over more or less all over the eyelid with the Alluring Rose first and then blend that in. These are pretty nice to blend actually, they're pretty good. Okay, so that's our eyes just with Alluring Rose on. I'm applying now Magnetic Mauve. This is my version of a crease colour. It has to go above the crease because I'm slightly hooded here. I'm going to take this shade under the eye. Let's just buff that in. I'm going to go along the lash line with the Brown Abyss shade. Just want to get some definition and darkness along the lash line. And just blend that in with a smaller flat brush. Effectively treating this a bit like an eyeliner. And then that means I can use the slightly lighter shade Magnetic Bronze on the lid. So I have got one observation here. Obviously I have layered and layered the different colours to get a kind of blended effect. I do think it's starting to look a little bit muddy, so it might be better with these eyeshadow sticks only to use maybe 1 or 2 colours at one time. I think it's blended okay, but I'm just a little bit conscious that the one we used as an eyeliner might be kind of blending in with the rest and creating a slightly muddied effect. And then I nearly forgot, I want to use the Twinkly Rose just as a highlight along the top of the brow. We'll see, we'll find out later whether that was successful or not. For eyeliners, I've acquired 3 different automatic gel eyeliners. I'm just going to swatch the shades for you so you can see them in action. The first one is, this is Bronzed Espresso. This one is Velvet Bordeaux. And this one is Brown Denim. I am going to go with the Brown Denim to tightline my upper lids. I am curious about these other ones though. I might use one of them on the lower lids. Let's see how this goes first of all, tightlining the upper lash. I really like the consistency of these eyeliners. They are very soft and they are gel, so they go on smoothly. It says for up to 36 hours wear. It doesn't say waterproof though, so I'm interested to see if these are going to transfer from the upper lash to the lower. They don't seem to be transferring immediately. Sometimes you tightline the upper lash and immediately as you blink it touches the lower lash. This does seem to be staying put where I've put it. I'm going to have to give the Bordeaux a go another time. I think today I'm going to go with the Bronzed Espresso for my lower waterline. If these do stay put where I leave them, they'll fast become a favourite actually because they're very nice to use. I think the colours are lovely. And if they do stay on the waterline, they will be quite brilliant. They are pretty grippy. I am trying to wash these off with a wipe. This is a Nivea Micellar 3-in-1 wipe. It is coming off now because it's a micellar wipe, but it took a bit of elbow grease to get that to come off. Right then, for lashes, I have this Panorama Volume Million lashes. This is in the shade Brown Leather. It said something like chromatic mascara on the sign. Don't quite know what that means, but let's give it a go and find out. Weirdly, it doesn't feel like a lot of mascara is going on. Why would that be? I mean, it is going on, but compared to some others I've used recently, it's okay, it's starting to stick now. It seems to need a few coats to start building it up. Okay, and now we're starting to see something a bit like you see in the advert for Volume Million lashes. Try and tip my head back so you can see, hopefully you can see the comparison of no mascara to mascara. Although initially it didn't feel like anything was going on, it has quickly built up and now I have quite a thick lash. It's actually quite nice, I quite like, ow, except I keep poking myself in the eye. I don't know what it is about this wand, but I think maybe it's the different lengths on it. I sort of feel like I'm poking myself in the eye every now and again. I find that a bit irritating about these wands when they make them an uneven shape or some of the bristles stick out. It doesn't take into account the fact that you can sort of jab yourself in the eye with it if you're not incredibly careful. Okay, but wand problems aside, I think the lashes are looking pretty thick actually. It's certainly living up to its Volume Million lashes name. Hopefully you can see my lashes from below. Tip my head up further just in case. And look down. And actually I've just realised I've forgotten to use the liquid eyeliner pen. This is the Haute Precision Liquid Eyeliner. I bought this in the shade Brown Leather again. I am going to try and squeeze a little bit in there above the mascaraed lashes. Unfortunately, I forgot it was there, so I haven't kind of done it beforehand, but let's try and get a little bit in. Okay, it's a little bit difficult to get in behind the mascara. And I always fear with these brushes that they're going to dry out while you're using them and you're not going to be able to finish the job. Okay, that'll have to do. Okay, so I've got two lip pencils here. This one is 1980 Lambra, and this is 601 Worth It. So I'm going to go in with Worth It. Remembering we tried to contour our lips a little bit earlier. I'm not sure if it's still visible, but let's go in with the lip pencil now. It is, the contour is still there a little actually. I can see it now I'm up close. I haven't tried contouring my lips, so I'm trying to kind of leave some of that contour there to see whether it does give the illusion of a plumper lip. But I am struggling to get grip with this pencil. This is a complaint I have about some lip pencils, particularly high street ones, is that they're a bit too hard. They don't lay down their pigment easily enough for my liking. So if you've got anything slightly slippy on the lip already, they might sometimes just don't grab at all. And that's a little bit what I'm experiencing now. I don't know if it's the addition of the contour or if it's just the pencil itself. I'm not overly thrilled with this pencil, I've got to say. It's not really showing up in the way that I would like. So this is a lipstick. This is the Intense Volume Matte 640 Le Nude. There, that's the swatch. That is the Plump Ambition Lip Oil that I already had in the shade 601 Worth It. And this is the new one that I've just bought, the Hyaluron Tint. That's in the shade Smoky Mauve. So the question is, which one do we go for? They're all quite different, aren't they? The new one, that's the one I want to try because that's my brand new one today, but that's much darker than I was expecting. And actually I think that's a really lovely colour. I have used that before and I really liked it. And this darker one, worries me a little. Let's try the lipstick first and then I'll go over the top of it with that darker lip stain serum. And if you're wondering, it really does stain. That is the stain that it has left on my hand. So that's rather nice. That's the matte lipstick in the shade Le Nude. And in the interests of science, I am going to go over that with the lip stain. Perhaps because I'm going over the lipstick, it's not laying down the colour that laid down on my hand at all. Okay, the lipstick is clearly interfering with it, so we've got a much lighter shade than I imagined, but there is our lip tint in Smoky Mauve. So there we have our finished look for today. Full face of L'Oreal, bought today and mixed with my existing collection. Let me know what you think of this look down in the comments. I think it's rather good actually. I'd kind of lost a bit of faith in L'Oreal, but I think with this new makeup collection they may have in fact redeemed themselves. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to see another one, take a look at this one here. Don't forget to stay curious, and I'll see you in the next one.